y'all, this is Auntie. Let me see if I can get some light for all of you all who are going to join me tonight. Okay, just 1 second. Let me plug it up. Hey there. Just trying to get some more light. I'm sitting in my living room. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of light so you all can see me. I'm also going to be trying to keep this phone charged up. There we go. That's too much light. Look like I got little monster eyebrows. Oh my God, that's too much light. Let's see what I can do to diffuse some of this light there. Okay, is that better? I don't know if it is or not. I usually don't tape in my living room because I have it cozy wozy in here, and that's how I like it. So anyway, you all, this is Auntie, and I am coming out to do a review after the review. My review isn't even up. I've taped it, and I am just done. I'm spent. I am just like, what the foolishness happened? Please type a comment on this so that I can make sure that I have my chat on, because if I don't have my chat on, I am going to end this and then start it with my chat. So let me know if the chat is on. Auntie O, so y'all know I don't really know this thing like that. So if you could just put, yes, I can chat, or what, there we go. Okay, so is it still giving Auntie those weird looking eyebrow things at the top because of the shadow and the lighting? Yeah, it is. Okay, thank you so much. Let me tell you all something. It's on. Let me tell you all something. I just watched Iyanla Fix My Life Part 3. And I have done my review. I am probably not going to put it up tonight because I got to sleep on it. There was so much that was revealed and talked about and shared in this episode that Auntie is just like completely done and spent. Like, my makeup is a hot tail mess because I cried through most of the daggone review. What are you saying, sweetie? Hey, Auntie. Hey, boo-boo. I like cried through most of the daggone review. And so I don't know whether or not I want you all to see Auntie out there crying like that. But let me tell you something. You know, I know that it ended off with a positive ending, or at least a positive ending for us to see on the show. But I don't think it was anything positive that came, really out of it. You know, we opened up this episode with, Iyanla being upstairs. No, we opened it up with her telling the girls, that the mother, was raped at 7 years old and wanting them to be sympathetic to that. All the looks on all the girls' faces was done, spent, because they was like, okay, we used to seeing her act like this. I have never seen a grown woman in my life have such a cotton freaking tantrum and run up the stairs. But when she said some things, she said that Shay, was spiteful and all of that kind of spiteful ass. And you know what? Now we see why she said it, because they was dating the same woman. What the flying freak? Like, how do you... Hey! How do you date the same woman that your mother... Like, y'all got chill bumps. I feel like I got that, the hives or something off this cotton freaking episode, because, like, I cannot believe that the mother would not... she... Okay, I got to say, Auntie, slow down. Auntie got to slow down. Okay, so y'all remember in episode 1 and 2 that the mother's excuse was always, I didn't feel like I needed to tell him. Why didn't you feel like you needed to tell them? Number 1, that this guy was a rapist. And number 2, you didn't feel a need to tell Shay that you was in a trial relationship with some woman. What the... is wrong with the, like, I'm gonna try to keep this clean. I swear to God, I'm gonna try to keep this clean. I'm gonna try to go this whole time, y'all, with Auntie not saying that one cuss word, because at the end of the day, by the time we finish this, it's gonna be Sunday, it's gonna be church day, and so I want to keep this as clean as I can. But you disgusted dust buster of a mother, you know, I can't even call her a mother. The only thing that I could call her is some shady ass friend, because, you know, let me tell you something. She treated her daughters like some Negro out in the street. And y'all know I don't want to say Negro. I want to say another word. How in the world, how in the foolishness are you going to have a relationship with the same woman that you're... Wait a minute. Okay, y'all please say Auntie slow. Say Auntie slow down. This all started off from the mother being raped. Okay, so she was raped as a child. I am so sympathetic to that. I've never been raped, so I don't know how that feels. But then, you know, you're upstairs and you're telling Iyanla, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this. I done said too much. I'm tired of talking. But excuse me, you haven't talked. What have you talked about? You haven't even told your story yet. Tell your story. We still don't know your whole story. You know why? Because you got so many lies and so much deceit going on that you don't even know your story. And you was a crackhead. So half the story is alternative facts anyway. Don't that sound familiar? You gonna sit up there and run upstairs with a tantrum because you don't feel appreciated for the stuff you did. What did you do? I don't understand. Y'all help Auntie out. I don't understand what you did other than put your daughters in harm's way. Other than be some ratchet whore out on the street having baby after baby and not being responsible. I don't mean to call... Well, yes, I do. Because I'm so cotton freaking livid. I am so angry and hurt behind this episode. To me, this episode didn't do anything for me to help me see these girls getting healed. Then you gonna sit up there and tell Iyanla, they lying. And she's like, you taught them how to lie. But you know what? She still didn't really, to me, go into admit anything. And I'm sorry for any of the daughters that come out here and hear what I have to say about their mama. Because I know don't nobody, at the end of the day, like nobody talk about your mama. But you put your mama on TV. Okay? You put it out there on TV. So I apologize in advance if I hurt any of y'all feelings about what I'm saying out here about your mama. But at the end of the cotton freaking day, she does not represent what I believe to be a mother. And that's my opinion. I said what I said. Why in the world would you come to a healing house, start accusing your daughters of doing a whole bunch of stuff, and you want to pit one daughter against the other daughter, and then you want to run upstairs and now you want to Uber in a Lyft to take you home? But why ain't nobody taking you nowhere? You gonna stay your butt in that daggone house, and you gonna keep it funky. Okay, so while the mother's upstairs with Iyanla and she's talking about that, the daughters are downstairs, and Markel, the youngest girl, says all of this started with Bleep. Put Bleep name out there. Matter of fact, put Bleep's name, picture, social security number, address, and phone number out there so we can find out who the Bleep is. Because at this point, Bleep doesn't need to have any privacy. He doesn't deserve that. We need to know when there's a sex offender living in the community. What in the... Woo, that's a lot of words. Oh, she said, I got empathy for the mother, but she ain't shit. Okay? Put Bleep out there. Why are they trying to keep Bleep out of the picture? Everybody in the area needs to know that Bleep is a child molester. And they need to make sure that their girls are not around. See, that's the thing about it. You continue to perpetrate and cover up for a sex offender. We need to know where a sex offender is. Is he living one block away from the school? Where does he live? We need to make sure that he is off the streets so that he can't hurt and damage somebody else's child like he damaged these women that's out here. Yes, he needs to be outed. I agree with you. What in the foolishness? Whose advantage is it to keep his name anonymous? It sure ain't to mine. Okay, so Shay is downstairs and she says, mom is upset, because we was dating the same woman and she don't want to admit to her lesbianism. What? What? So not only was the mother a crackhead, not only was the mother somebody who abandoned her girls, not only was the mother was somebody that got raped, now she's a lesbian too. What the foolishness? What else is going to fall out this woman's skeleton closet? Like, and all the girls know about it. All of them know about it. Why didn't this come out day one? This should have came out day one when we see, what's going on. So anyway, Iyanla, convinces the mother to come downstairs. The mother's on the steps having another tantrum. I can't believe you. I'm tired. How much more can I take? I mean, And so Iyanla's like, your mom's feeling unappreciated and everything. What can you do? So Keisha says, basically, we all can say, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, and then move on. But then what really happens is that we all start accusing each other of doing the whoop whoop and the whoop 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 and the whoop whoop doop doop and the doop 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 and the whoop 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 and the doop doop doop. And basically, now you want all these girls to sit up there and kiss that mother's behind and tell them that they appreciate her. Nope. Couldn't do it. Love you, Iyanla. Respect you and everything. But I was in such disagreement with that because what you wanted to do was make sure that that woman didn't leave out that house. So you said anything that you could say to appease the mother. So, I mean, you know what you got to do? You got to do what you got to do, but I'm going to say what I want to say. And at the end of the day, I would not have apologized to her for anything, not in that moment. Not that I'm not able to move past a place. What are you saying out there? The mother is a narcissist. Yes, because the mother just doesn't care about the kids. She really, everything was about her. And I just was done. What are you saying, sweetie? You said the network can't put the name out there. They don't want lawsuits. I understand what you say. I hear what you're saying, but I totally disagree with that. I mean, I understand that the network can't put the name out there because they have to probably sign something. But at this point, this guy needs to be a convicted sex offender. And I don't know if you can go back and do something about that, but he's a sex offender. Like, he's a child sex pedophile. I mean, like, he really is. At some point, somebody's got to tell something because he's going to continue to do this. And you know what? How many other innocent people has this guy raped? How many girls? How many boys? He got to be told. Somebody got to say something to get him off the streets. Anyway, so the mother comes down and they all down in the room and everything. And they sitting around in the semicircle, And, she tells asks Shay, how you feel about it? Can you offer your mom forgiveness? Can you apologize to your mom and make your mom feel like, she's needed or whatever? If you can do it, then Shay, I understand. And if you understand, the hell you ask her to do it for. But okay, it's for TV. So, she's like, do you even care whether or not your mother's here? Do you want your mother to be here or what? And Shay like, nope, I don't, no. Shay, I respect your honesty. Like, I absolutely respect your honesty. So Shay like, I don't care if she stay and I don't care if she go. So then the next thing you know, here we got, the mom, then we go to Keisha. And Keisha's like, I want you to stay. And she's got tears just dripping down her eyes because after all, Keisha is the one that wrote Iyanla because she wanted, to get this camaraderie and stuff like that together with her sister. So, she has a vested interest in seeing everything happen, what I'm saying, with the whoop and the boop, boop, boop. So, okay, so she does that. And then we get, she says, you're all I have. And I really felt bad for her. But then we get to, when we get to Precious was like, look, you pissed off and everything and you mad. And I see myself in you, because you know what? That's how I act when I get mad. But the reality of it is, Mom, you not owning your stuff. You don't want to admit nothing. You ain't doing the work. Go ahead on, Precious. I pops my bra off to you, boo, because you absolutely right. Your mother ain't own nothing. Not even an Uber car that was coming to get her. Okay. So anyway, we go around and then we go to Bianca. Bianca says, okay, basically, Mom, me and you done worked our stuff out, but the other sisters, they ain't say nothing. The other one, Marcia, she didn't say nothing. Because Marcia had already said at the table when the mother ran upstairs and had the tantrum that she just didn't think that it was going to be fixed. And you know what the thing about it is, in every area of their lives, all of them seem to be numb except for Keisha. Everybody else has this numbness. What you saying out there, sweetie? Pop it. Yes, girl. Let me pop that bra. Wait a minute. Let me pop it. Wait, hold on. I'm going to pop it on this side. There you go. But so, we get to Marcel, which is the youngest girl, and she's like, come on now. I've been away from y'all for a long time. And, she starts crying and she gets emotional. So guess what I do? I start crying with her. And she's like, I ain't been around y'all in a long time, and I really love this. I really wanted this. You know what I'm saying? And, for Mom, for you to be, running out the door and stuff like that, we finally got an opportunity to be together, and you going to run out the door. So, Iyanla's like, hold up, I got to get a handle on this. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead on and go to sleep on it. And then, she goes to, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Absolutely, it comes in the morning when you do the work, because the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So if they got faith that this is going to heal, then the mother got to do the work. I mean, I'm just sorry. I don't see the mother doing the work. At this point, the mom's not doing the work. Who's that? Auntie. Hey, so Steph. So, I don't like these glasses on because it's got this reflection on it and it just looked like so I may end up moving into the other room. So anyway, but I'm so comfortable in my little couchy, y'all, in my living room. It's so cozy in here. But anyway, so, after they do all of that, it's like, okay. Y'all, I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm exhausted from this episode. So, they decide, Iyanla tells them, okay, well, we're going to go head on and we're going to stay until the morning and everything. And we'll see how everybody feel in the morning. So, in the morning, all the girls get up and they got their thing on. And their little yellow shirts on. And I think it says something about forgiveness. Forgiveness is for everyone or something like that. And then, they got their little purple bags. And you could tell they're getting ready to do some kind of exercise. And the mother's sitting out on the porch. And so Iyanla comes and she has these 6 white roses. And I guess those white roses is to represent her 6 daughters. And she talks to the mom, and the mom's like, it was a rough night and everything. And, I did a lot of praying. Really? Really? Was you praying that you did? Oh, I ain't even gonna say it. I was about to say something so daggone shady that I wouldn't have been embarrassed about saying it. But anyway, so the mother, talks about, Iyanla talks to her about, working it out with her daughters and just being, real about it. And then she tells her that she can relate to her, that her story is the same. And that, the only difference between them is that, she's at a place of deliverance. She was able to admit, what she did. Who is that? Forgive everyone for everything shirts. Yes, it was. That's exactly what it. Forgive everyone for everything shirts. So, they talk about, she talks to her about that. And she asks the mother a question. And she says, if you could say anything that you regretted, what would it be? Who is that? That little pink thing is so cute. Paris Curry, I didn't think Alicia was... Oh, it's so hard to accept that a person may never be what you need them to be. I don't think it's hard to accept that a person can't be what you need them to be if they just say that they can't be what you need them to be. But anyway, I know what you meant, boo. Hi, Niecy. I know what you meant. So anyway, she talks to her about that, and the mom says that she regrets not being more aware. That shocked me because I thought that as a mom, she would say, I regret not being there for my daughters and protecting my daughters. I, I regret being on crack cocaine and not being a real mom. Those are the kind of things I thought she was going to say, but that ain't what she said. She said not being aware. Being aware of what? One thing that I like about Iyanla that I don't have the ability to do is to get past what you said to what you mean. Because Iyanla ended up defining for her what she really wanted to say. And that was basically forgive yourself for not doing better when you weren't taught better or you didn't know to do better. Good job, Iyanla, but I ain't buying it. Like that t-shirt right there staying in the store. I ain't picking it up. I don't care if it's on clearance. I can't get with it. I cannot get with a mother that just will not, still at that point to me, take ownership for her stuff. I can't do it. I can't do it. So anyway, I want to move on to this next scene where we see, Iyanla sitting outside with Shay. And Iyanla tells Shay, basically, let's talk, boo. And she talks to her about this child sex pedophile. What you saying out there, sweetie? Why, auntie? Why what? Why what? What you asking me why? Tell me why you asking me why I lost you. Why can't you get with Alicia? Because as a mom, because as a mom, when you decide to, for me, and this is just my opinion, when you decide to have a baby, you decided to bring someone into this world and to be responsible for them, to be responsible for their mental, physical, social, health, everything. You've decided to do all of that. And so if you can't do that, then you guard yourself and protect yourself from having children. And even though, they're 30 years old, let me tell you, there was contraceptives and all of that kind of stuff then. Now, I know that she was crack addicted, and I know that has a lot to do with it because women will sell their bodies to have crack. And I'm not saying that that's what she did. But the reason why I can't get with her is because I'm a mom. And so when I'm coming with a mother's heart. And so because I have a mother's heart and everything in my life is about my child, I can't get with a mother that fails that miserably in raising their child. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I hope I answered your question. For me, it's unbelievable and unspeakable to even think that people live like that. And I know, what are y'all saying? Not giving her excuse, but she's never had any tools. I've never had any tools either. My mother was deceased when I was 23 years old. I didn't have my daughter until I was 33. But let me tell you something. There is something called God, and there's something called prayer, and there's something called reaching out to other people, and there's something called educating yourself. I didn't have a mother's guidance when I had my daughter either. That doesn't give me an excuse to be a poor mother. It doesn't give me an excuse to be on crack cocaine. We all have had the opportunities to have hard lives. You understand what I'm saying? So I totally disagree with it. And and let the truth be told, I didn't have a perfect relationship with my mom either. So, but I didn't abandon my daughter. I didn't allow my daughter to be raped. I don't have a poor relationship with my daughter. I pull myself up by my bootstraps, and I learned how to be a mom. I learned how to be loving. I learned how to be compassionate. I learned how to do all of that stuff. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm not giving her any excuses and no passes. None whatsoever. Not for her behavior. And neither should her daughters who are broken. But again, but I'm gonna move on because I don't want to find myself having to defend my opinion. Wait a minute. I'm not going to find myself defending my opinion about why you asked me a question, sweetie, and I answered it. And so I'm going to digress and I'm going to move on because although you want to give her an excuse for what she did, would you excuse her daughters for what they did? And I don't feel like I need to be out here trying to defend myself about how I feel about a mother who put 6 children in jeopardy. If she had taken those 6 children and ran them off the bridge and into the water, would you have an excuse for that? Because the thing about it is, when you have children and you mistreat your children, guess what your children are going to do? They're not going to learn. And just like you said in your own text, everybody doesn't have resilience. Suppose Shay, and that was put one of the comments that was put down in my comment box. Suppose Shay had a reaction and taken her life or taken the life of somebody else. Suppose Precious had killed her rapist. There's a lot of variables, and at the end of the day, it comes back. The responsibility comes back on the parent. And especially the mom. That's just how it is. That's my opinion. And I'm getting ready to move on because I don't want to find myself arguing with any of my nieces and nephews. Okay? So we going to move on. So anyway, we see her talking to Shay about how Shay feels about this guy. And how she's going to deal with it when she gets back home. And she's talking about how the relationship is going to be complicated. And I understand that. And the relationship is going to be complicated. And Shay already said, it's already changed. So I don't know whether or not a telephone call. Shay's like, I'm not, it's already changed and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So what ends up happening then is Shay says, well, Shay, what happened between Bleep and your mom is something that needs to be handled. When you get back home, you have a conversation with him. And after you have that conversation with him, you build your relationship or don't build it based on what he says. And so Shay's like, okay, but that's not, why I'm here. And Iyanla's like, oh, okay, what? And she's like, Mom, my problem is Alicia. I noticed that she doesn't call her mom. When she's arguing with her, she calls her mom. But when she's talking about her, she calls her by her name. And I don't think in the 18 years, almost 19 years that my daughter's been living, my daughter's ever called me by my name. And so it just shows just a level of disrespect that Shay just really has for her, disrespect and discontent that she has for her mother. So she's like, what? And she's like, my mom and I was dating the same woman. And my mom mentally abused me by sending me text messages and email from the time that I got to work at 7 o'clock to the time I got off at 4. And you want to make an excuse for Shay's mom? You want to be compassionate and wonder why I feel the way that I feel when a mother is sitting out there attacking her daughter from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening over some other woman? over somebody that she's in a relationship with that she didn't even sit up there and tell her daughter she was okay. Let's get past the rape. Let's say she was dysfunctional and out of order with the rape, but you gonna sit up there on purpose with your grown daughter, have an argument and harass her all day at work over some woman that you didn't tell her that you was having a relationship with. Trisexual. I try anything. And then when Iyanla asks the mother, did Shay know you were in a relationship? I didn't feel like she needed to know. You don't feel like anybody needs to know anything. And you wondering why I feel the way I feel? How does that look? How does that sound? How do you excuse that kind of behavior? I wouldn't even let some girlfriend or some boy call me and text me from 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening about a cotton freaking relationship. Let me read this comment. Yeah, that blew me. I just was like, what the foolishness? And the sad part about it is Shay didn't ask to be here. Shay didn't ask her to have her. Shay wasn't nowhere around whispering in her ear, have me, get pregnant with me, abuse me, leave me with the kids, let me take care of these kids while I'm still a kid myself, stay and abandon me, abandon my sisters, separate us, let me have all these sisters that I don't know. Shay didn't ask for none of that. Not one of those 6 girls asked for that. They didn't ask their mother to have them. She had those kids and then doesn't want to take responsibility for her freaking actions. Yes, morally bankrupt. She moves in with her daughter's ex. And then go sit up there and argue with the girl when Shay said you said something that you got mad because she brought me a pair of shoes. She was buying me all kinds of stuff when we was together. So when Shay says there's a competition, now we see exactly what Shay means. There was a competition between the mother and the daughter. And you asking me why? Auntie Love y'all now. Y'all know Auntie Love. She love all her nieces and nephews out there. So I ain't trying to offend nobody. But goddamn it, I'm going to say what I got to say out here, okay? I'm going to say what I got to say. Now, this mother, like the comment said, is morally bankrupt. Something is the hell wrong with her. And then you gonna sit up there and say she needs her marijuana. Well, how about you need your crack pipe? Do you need a crack pipe? Why would you, as an ex-drug addict, because you said that you're an ex-drug addict, say somebody else and out somebody else about their drug use and possible drug abuse? Why would a mother... That's what I'm saying. You handling her like a girlfriend. She's not a girlfriend. She's your daughter. And she's looking for you to step up and be a mother. There's just some conversations and some things I'm not going to stoop down to my daughter's level to have with her. I'm just not going to do it. I have a very loving and open relationship with my daughter. And I thank God for that every day. I don't take that for granted. But let me tell you something. We worked on that. When my daughter was 13, 14, 15 years old, y'all know how they get when they get to be 13, 14, 15. Then they trying to fill themselves out and trying to find their way and trying to assert their independence and stuff like that. And you the queen bee of the house and they want to tell you what they going to do and what they not going to do with the whoop whoop and the boop boop boop. It takes a lot of work to get past those teenage years with your daughter. For any of you all who have been out there who have daughters now, it takes a lot of work. Yeah, it should have been a separate healing. Yeah, she doesn't. I agree. But, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to... True. Everybody on the show is broken is what the comment says, and that's absolutely true. But it takes a lot of work to continue to have a good relationship and a good open communication with your child when they are in their teenage years. And my daughter and I struggled, and I had many opportunities to act a straight ass with my daughter. But what I realized and what Iyanla said, it takes nothing away from me as a mom to say, forgive me, I was wrong. And one thing that I realized, I would have to agree with that. So yeah, I do too. I agree with Steph on that too. What one thing that I realized as a mom, like like Iyanla said, and like I said earlier, it takes nothing away from you to say that I am sorry, and it takes nothing away from me as a mom to say, baby, forgive me because I was wrong in that. And there were many times when I would have to tell my daughter, you know what, I'm doing this because I didn't know any better. And when I know better, I can do better. There's a lot of things that my daughter, who is a millennial child, had to teach me as a mom. But one thing about it is I always remained open and I always remained teachable, because even though I'm the mom and I'm the queen bee, I don't know everything. And to deal with her personality, which is so opposite from mine, there was a lot of challenges. And because I was a mom who could compromise and say, I apologize, I ask you to forgive me, my daughter learned that same behavior to say, you know what, mom, please forgive me for doing such and such. Mom, you know what, I apologize. I am sincerely apologetic for what I did. And it began to develop trust in our relationship to a whole different level. Sometimes as a mom, you feel like I'm the mom of the house. I say what I want to say. I do what I want to say. I'm the queen bee and I can do, blah, blah, blah. And you do it just because I said to do it. But guess what? With this new generation, that's not enough. It's not enough to just be the parent. You have to really learn how to communicate with them, because this generation communicates totally different. When I was growing up, the communication was a leather strap. It was a belt. Our parents didn't talk to us about stuff. They just beat that ass. That's all they did. And then in this generation, you raise your children and you think that that's how you're going to discipline them and that's how you're going to handle things. Let me see what you're saying out there. Amen. I make sure that my son knows I'm not too big to apologize. Absolutely. And so I had to learn that beating my daughter or spanking her all the time. Now the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. So trust and believe she got her fair share of little spankings. But what I had to realize was that I could not raise her the way that I was raised. I had to do better. I had to learn how to communicate with my daughter. And that's one of the things that it seems like Alicia never learned how to do. She just felt like because I'm the mom that you can't oppose me. You can't say anything to me. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything to you because I don't feel a need to have to tell you. Half the time when she was approached with anything, all the time it was always about, well, I didn't feel like I had to say anything. I didn't feel like I needed to say anything to her. Well, guess what? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you need to say something to your kids. But anyway, I don't want to make this long and drawn out. I'm just sharing my experiences as a mom. And I'm looking at her and I'm saying, you ain't got it yet, but you're going to get it. And I'm praying that it's not too late for her to get it. But anyway, so, the Shay says, talks about this lesbian relationship that she was in and found out that her mom had been dating the same woman. And so when Shay started dating the woman, the mother had a problem with it and started harassing her about it. Shay also went on to say that there was some party at Keisha's house that she brought the girl to, and the mother smacked the taste buds out the woman. I mean, so it's just, you can see this rivalry between Shay and her mom. And and Iyanla mouth was like this. She was shocked, and then she caught herself and she had to, put the face on. Like, I ain't shocked by this stuff that's being said. I was shocked. See, Precious, you ain't tell us that. But anyway, what are you saying, honey? Exactly. And you know what Iyanla said? I was glad that Iyanla said that to her. I got to keep my head up like this because I hate this up here on the top. You know what Iyanla said to her? Iyanla said to her, to Shay later on in the episode, your mom is in denial. And to you, it seems like a lie, but to her, it's denial because for her, she has to keep herself, she has to live in this alternative society or world that she's created herself in order to protect herself. Because she know that the stuff that she has done has been so foul. And the stuff that the mother has done that has been so foul is so beyond 3 days that Iyanla had to spend with them. But anyway, so Iyanla says, well, how is that going to help you? She's like, how's that going to help your relationship with your mom? And she's like, oh, okay, she needs to admit it. So when the mom comes out and Shay begins to say the stuff that she had to say, you can see the mom's embarrassment, and you can see that the mom was a little irritated because, of course, for her, she don't want this coming out on national television. But guess what? Shay dropped that bomb on that ass, though, didn't she? So anyway, the mother gets defensive, Shay gets defensive, and they get to arguing back and forth about this daggone woman while Iyanla is sitting there. Then the mother jumps up out the chair up in Shay's face, and they, Shay's like, what you gonna do is get on my face. And she's like, you ain't gonna disrespect me and woo, 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 woo. But you know what Iyanla told her on day A? She told her on day A, you don't have the right to discipline these girls because you haven't developed that kind of relationship with them in order to discipline you. Disciplining comes with love. A child has to understand that when they're getting disciplined, that you love them. Most children do interpret discipline as love, but not when your relationship is already shattered. But anyway, I digress and I'm going to move on. So, the mother goes into the house and she's like, you need to get her the weed and what do the woo-woo and the boo-boo-boo. Come on, Mom. You ain't had to hit under the belt like that. Ain't nobody saying nothing about the crack pipe. So Iyanla sits there and tells Shay, I'm just not in any way, shape, form, or fashion going to agree with you calling your mother a bitch. And I absolutely agree with Iyanla. That was that was just out of left field. It was uncalled for, and it was just ultimately and absolutely disrespectful. But one thing that I have noticed about black women, or women as a whole, that we use that word so freely and so liberally to even tear each other down, or we try to say that we use it as a term of endearment. Ain't nothing endearing about somebody one woman calling another woman a bitch. So anyway, I'm gonna move on past that. And Shay's like, okay, well, how do I fix it? I apologize. That's why you here. I need you to help me. And Iyanla's like, look, you need to just forgive her. In order for you to move, that's my dog, y'all, excuse me. In order for you to move past anything, you're going to have to forgive her. And it's really the truth. And she was telling Shay, basically you don't need anybody to validate your experience or to validate your truth. This is what you believed happened, and it is what you believe it is, but you don't need anybody to validate it. And Shay, has an aha moment with Iyanla, and she says, you know what, I need to go in the house and I need to ask my mom for forgiveness. And then, they go in the house and she she asks her mom for forgiveness. And this is the first time that I see vulnerability in Shay. But I'm going to tell you what ended up happening when I was taping the review. As I was thinking about it and taping the review, I started crying. Because even when Shay apologized to her mom, and it was so sincere and so heartfelt, I still felt the coldness from the mom. And when the mom went to hug Shay, I just felt like it was just something that she did because it was acceptable to do. But I just did not see or feel the genuine touch of a mom. I'm sorry. I just, I think if I wasn't a mom and I did not have a daughter, what you saying, baby? Me too. Thank you. Thank you. I thought it was just me. But I just was like, and then as she exits from the embrace with Shay, she says, but I want you to mean it. That canceled out the apology. It doesn't make a difference whether she meant it or not. She apologized. And Shay was sincere about her apology. Why would the mother spoil the moment by saying, but I want you to really mean it, Shay. I really want you to forgive me. I'm really sorry. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And Shay's standing on the wall, and Iyanla is supporting her by holding the mom's arm, and she's trying to pump the mom's brakes. You know what I'm saying? Because the mom is taking it to a whole nother level. And Shay's like, on, just really growing up. And this episode, yeah, it was Super Duper. It was a performance. Super Duper said she hugged her because Iyanla was standing in the background, and it was a performance. Yeah, poop, pound girl, pound on that one. I totally agree with you, Super Duper, because let me tell you something. It just wasn't sincere, and the mother still, if Iyanla wasn't there, it would have ended up being an argument because the mother came from a negative place. I hope that you really meant that. I hope that was... The girl apologized. Just take the apology so you can move on. But you like to dwell on stuff. You like to dwell on the past, except for your past. Now, everybody else's past, that's up for... She has an entitlement spirit. Absolutely she do. And that's why I said the mother ain't... Boop, I peeped her. Who is that? Shannon? I peeped her game too. I'm trying to tell you, I peeped her game. And I'm just not going to make an excuse for her. I'm just not going to do it. I can't do it. I mean, I understand all the hardships. And you know what the thing about it is? Let me just say this. I know so many women who have had trauma. And I mean, when I say trauma, I mean trauma in their lives. And they are the best parents ever. Trauma, rape, incest, all that stuff, while it is horrible, it is a horrific act. And it affects everybody different. It's not an excuse for being a horrible human being. It's not. And it ain't never going to be. Because at the end of the day, when you have children, they are a direct reflection of who and what you are and what you put in them. And one of my nieces out there said that your parents are the first God you ever meet. They're the first encounter with God that you meet. And I truly do believe that. They're the first man you ever date and the first woman you ever date. The mom was still attacking when she kept on going. The Lord can and will send maternal women into their lives to make up the difference. And I pray that, I pray that that is true, and I believe that. I'm in total agreement with you on that. I really do. I just, at the end of the day, the mom got supported Shay. What'd she say? Wow, powerful statement. All they have is each other. Their mother has to accept change in order to understand them. Absolutely. And the mother has got to come out of a place of denial. And I was glad that Iyanla was mature enough to have that conversation with Shay and say, hey, Shay, look, your mother's in denial. For you, what you're hearing is her telling a lie, but for her, it's denial. And I thank God, for just, all the mothers that are out there. And I know, here goes something long. She feel like she did them a favor bringing them into the world, and they owe her respect, and everything has to come from being a mother. And you know what? Respect is earned. I have, and I'm not going to stay out here long, y'all. Okay, golly, it's 47 minutes and 37 seconds. Okay, but let me say this is what I believe about respect. I believe that respect is a 90-10 rule. And I believe that it's a 10-90 rule. I believe that as a mom, that when a child is born into this world, that there is a 90% respect that is due you. 10% of that respect you earn. I believe that when your children get to be a certain age, that switches up. And that's 10% of what 10% respect is what you are deserved, and 90% is what you earn. Respect for me is something that is developed over a time period. when you are born into this world and your mother is changing your diaper and they're taking you to school and teaching you how to walk and we're teaching them how to brush their teeth and all of that kind of stuff, then you know what? Those children respect us. We respect that. We expect to have that respect 90% of the time. But 10% of the time, that child is, rebellious and they have their little stuff and, woo woo and woo 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 woo. When they get to be a certain age and they start looking at our character, whether or not we have integrity, whether we say one thing behind closed doors or whether or not we say something out in the street, they have an opinion about different things. But because they have that 90% respect, they don't say anything to us to our faces. They're talking behind our backs. And that's that 10% disrespect. You know how when you discipline your kids and they run up the stairs or something and then you hear them in their room, you can't really make out what they're saying, but they talking about you. My mother get on my nerve. I can't stand her. That's that 10% disrespect. But when your children see that you have no character, you have no integrity, there's no dignity about you, that you can't be on the up and up, that you are wishy-washy, that you say one thing and you do another thing, that automatically, after a while, it turns into 10 and 90. They have 10% respect for you when they're around you and 90% disrespect. And I just really do believe that. I think that it is, what are y'all saying out there? Y'all blowing it up. That's the truth. And amen. And I do, and so how you've been around people and you see them, when they 27 and 28 years old and they cussing their mother out and they got that little small 10% part of respect. It's because of what they've seen in their character. And that's what we see with Shay. That's what we see with Marcel. That's what we see with all of them. They have that 10% respect for their mother and 90% of it is just absolute disrespect. And it's because of her character and her lack of integrity as a mom and as a person in general. Because how do you have a relationship with somebody that you harass your daughter about and tell your daughter to her face that we're going to always be girlfriends? We're going to always. So what you're doing is saying, people out there in the street, they mean more to me than you do to me. I mean, it is what it is. That's my opinion. And I'm going to get up off of that. So anyway, they go in a circle and everything, and Iyanla has these little slate bricks. And she asks the mother, what do you believe that you've given your daughter? And so the mother, she says, I've given them guilt. I've given... They will become wise to the ways of the world and question the choices we made. Mm-hmm. Amen to that. And so, as they pass these bricks around, the mother talks about the things that she's given them. And the first thing she mentions is anger. And, she mentions guilt, sorrow, unforgiveness. It's a lot of things that she mentioned. And they pass these bricks around and stuff like that. And they all got them on their laps. And I thought that it was just God's way of really talking when Shay had the 3 and the other sisters had 2 and 1. Because Shay has absolutely been carrying the weight of her mother's sins. The weight of being responsible for children that weren't hers. Children that she did not birth. I don't know what kind of relationship Shay has with her daughter. I know she mentioned she has a daughter and she's been learning by making mistakes. But let me tell you, Shay, if you ever see this video, most of us learned that way. And we did not have the same background that you had, but most of us have learned from mistakes. And it's when you as a mom can realize that you learn by a mistake, make the correction, make the adjustment, and do better. And let me tell you something. Our children are resilient and they are forgiving. And at the end of the day, no matter how gutted we are, they're going to always love us. They may not respect and trust us depending on what we do. But Shay, your daughter will always love you. And you know what? The biggest room in this world, Shay, is a room for improvement. You can always improve on what you have done. But the first thing to do is to do what you did this weekend. And that is by dialogue and by communication. By being honest and being a woman of integrity. What you don't want to do is call your mom a bitch. And you don't don't want to step out of character and disrespect your mom, because guess what? At the end of the day, you reap what you sow. And so if you don't want it to come back to you in your life, you cannot sow that seed, because you don't want your daughter to call you a bitch. And that was one of the things that I always talk to my daughter about. Different things that I came up in my life, I did not sow certain seeds, so I don't expect to reap them from her. And she's been a wonderful girl. She's a good girl. And I'm not saying that she's perfect, but all of us think our kids is perfect. But I'm not saying that she's perfect, but she has been the best daughter ever. And that she has never caused me one day, I enjoy this loving this channel. Love you too, boo. One thing that I love my loving relationship with my daughter, and I love my loving relationship with you all. And what you all see out here with me is what you get. It's how I am with my daughter, how I try to be with my nieces and nephews. I try to be that aunt. Wait a minute. Precious said that she saw herself in Alicia. She did, and that's why I have always tried to get myself together, because I don't want my daughter to see herself in me, but my daughter don't see herself in me. She tell me in a heartbeat, we two different. We peas in a pod, and we tight, but we are totally different. And I learn from her, and she learns from me. But anyway, so at the end, we see them throwing these rocks into the river. It looks like I don't know if they somewhere on the Potomac or if they somewhere in Annapolis, or on the Chesapeake, but they somewhere in this area. It just looked really, really familiar to me. So I'm just like, where they at? And I'm trying to recognize the house and recognize the neighborhood. So I don't know where they are, but I know they somewhere around here. But anyway, they throw them in the river, and she tells them, that they can't build off that foundation anymore, that those rocks of guilt and shame and anger and sorrow, are in the river. And then she tells them, let's take a family portrait. And they take it, and she says, say healed. And they say healed. And they take the little picture and everything. And then, they go back into the house, and she says, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And we didn't see anything that said, what the status of the daughters or anything like that are. The only thing that I can hope and I can pray, as a mom, from a mom's heart and from an aunt's heart, is that the healing does come to the sisters, whether or not the mother comes along or not. I pray that the sisters unite their sisterhood, and that, they really work on their relationship, include their mom in when she's, able to have a conversation and to accept responsibility for her behavior. But at the end of the day, they 6 sisters, and they can get together and they can build their relationship. I'm hoping that Precious, who lives in Louisiana, is able to visit her sisters frequently. I pray that they're keeping in contact with her now, and that this has caused them to grow closer. And to all the women out here who are moms, I salute you and I celebrate you for being the best moms on earth, and for doing what you know that you can do as a mom. And when you fall short, always pray and ask God to bring a Ruth in your life, like a Naomi and Ruth in the Bible, because God will do that. And if you ever need to reach out to me, you all know where I'm at, and I don't have a problem with picking up that telephone and calling you and having, one of them good old girl chats with you. But let me just say this. If you are a mom out there, do the best that you can do. What you don't know to do, always ask. Don't ever be ashamed of making a mistake. And like I said, it's the biggest room in this world is the room for improvement. You can always improve on your communication with your children. Don't ever give up on them. Don't speak negative words on their life, because words have power. They create life. When God created the earth, He created it with His mouth. He said, let there be light, and there was light. He said, let one firmament be separated from the other, which meant the river from the clouds. He said, let there there be, a man and a woman and blah, 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 blah. Everything that he created, it never said that he took his hand and created it. He spoke it with his words. And so believe me, women, every time you say something about your children, whether it be good or bad, it creates life and it creates an atmosphere that your children are going to live in. Even if you see your children going down the wrong road and you see that they are disobedient in certain areas or they're not getting it in certain areas, please remember to speak words of life over their life. There's a way that you can say everything that will cause your children to rise up to the words that you speak over their life. So if you say he's a heartbreaker, he will be a heartbreaker. A lot of people think that that's cute. It's nothing cute about a man being a heartbreaker. Instead of saying, oh, he gonna be a heartbreaker when he grow up. You know what you need to say? He's gonna be a loving man when he grows up. He's going to be good to a woman. You know what I mean? So, it's just the things that you say. If you know your child is struggling in a certain area, try to get a tutor or support them getting a tutor. Don't tell them you stupid. That boy's stupid. He don't know. And then, even the words that you speak in the atmosphere, whether you are in the presence of your children or away from them, those words still have power because they are creative. We are creative beings. We are speaking spirits. And that is how God has created us to be. So even when you're away, what you saying, boo? So true. So even when you're away from your children and you're talking to you, what you saying, boo? Wise words, very true. Love y'all. Love y'all. So even when you're away from your children and you having a conversation with your coworkers and your child may be struggling in a certain area, be mindful about the words that you're speaking. Some things you need to just kind of speak just to God and not to your friends. And I know you probably want advice in certain areas, but when you want that advice and you seeking that advice for your children, just say, my child is, having difficulties in this particular area and I know that they can do better. And they are going to do better, but I am looking for help to assist them instead of saying my child is failing math or my child is failing English, because you know what? Those negative words, they have life and they carry. There's always two people listening to everything you say. There's the evil side, there's the devil, and then there's God. It's whatever words you use, guess what? One of those are going to react. They're going to act on what you are saying. So you always want to make sure you're saying words of light. And if you have a tumultuous relationship or a broken relationship with your children, you know what? Now is the time to heal it, because guess what? When you're 6 feet under, there's nothing you can do about it. And you know what? You want your children to be able to give you your flowers while you're still alive and not flowers while you laying on your bed looking like, you at a horse race, okay? You know what I'm saying? The little horse flowers, them little wreaths and stuff like that. That's what it always remind me about the Kentucky Derby. So if you have a relationship that's estranged with your family members or with your children, let me tell you something. God is able to heal that relationship, and he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you dare ask or think, according to the power that worketh in you. What power is working in you? And then in closing, I just want to say I really appreciate each and every one of you all who come out to my channel. I love you all to pieces. I think about you all the time. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your views. I don't do this for money. Trust me, YouTube ain't paying me jack doodle, okay? I do this because I really do appreciate you. And again, I am always here for you. I can be reached on my email address every day of the week at aunties2cents@gmail.com. And that 2 is the number 2. So it's aunties2cents, CENTS, okay, @gmail.com. And I will call you back. I'll reach back out to you because I care. And when I say that I am your auntie, that we are creating a family, what you saying out there, boo? We appreciate you too. Oh, thank you, boo, with the little cute little heart. So, make sure you reach out to me. I don't mean to make this video long and all of that kind of stuff. My review will be up in the morning because guess what? It's the next day. So happy Sunday to you all. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming out here. Don't forget that on this Thursday, we will be doing a live chat and nightcap. Bring your drink with you, whatever you drinking on, okay? All right, just make sure it ain't no strong Patron. You know what I'm saying? And I will make sure that I bring mine. Y'all know me. I drink my little Diet Coke and I'm happy for the night. But I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you all on Thursday. Remember, my review will be up in the morning. Love y'all. Mwah.